So I think in the past class we have talked about bottom approach, top down approach. A quick glance is what we can say is how do you return the SOQL query results? So otherwise, the state, how do you write a syntax for it? So syntax is very simple in terms of having a keywords, fields, object names, and filters. All that we know. This is what the syntax that apply. Applying these, so we have two things that you can get a query using a square braces or using a string base. Square brace circle queries have this flat. So where you write select, see the square braces we have here. So where it returns, the moment I give this query, I get integer. So this is a function, but default we have in Salesforce just to get the count of the records of an object. So for this to run a query and account such count functions, you just return a number. We don't worry about limit exceptions here. Let's say 1 billion records also you have, so we don't have any limit exceptions here because we're just getting the count of the account. But whereas if you put select ID, so whereas select name or something query, so we have maximum of 50,000 records we can query in a one go. In one go, this is the max we can do. 50,000 records, we can retrieve in one go. 50,000 records in one go. So basically, not this way select count for any of this. For example, select name from where you put limit here. So where exactly applies this is I'll tell you. Wherever his limit is not specified, yeah, select name from account here. Look at this. If this account has 1 billion record, we can hardly get 50,000 records of the first. And then it says the limit exception was what are you doing? We can query only 50,000 records in one go. Okay, now if you have questions that more than this 50,000 records I want to process or I want to deal with, then what is the way I want to do it? So only then you have to start writing the asynchronous apex, which is called batch apex class. So the batch apex class can process up to I think up to 50 million records. 50 million records they will be running in a chunk by chunk. So either 200 records, 2000 records in one go, you can do it. So for that, more than 50,000 records you want to deal, or maybe insert, update, deal, whatever you want to do. So please use batch classes to achieve this concept. Now, how do we get to know in one query? I would able to query those many records. So yesterday we seen a dynamic query which we say in single quotes we passed. So database.query. Of course, this database.query can have a limit of 10,000. So database.get query locator we have. So that method can get us up to 50 million records. So database get query locator in batch. Okay, so let's see the limitations of here. In the Apex guide, they would have said you. So why we want to talk about the limits? Look at this, up to 50 million records you can process in a batch. Implementing batchable interface. If you write a query, something like select name from account, and there the one single query can get me up to 50 million records. But generally using the without a batch, if you try to use, so then they can bring maximum of 50,000 records. So 50,000 records is a generic thing where You don't deal anything with an chunk, anything with an batches. So a flat query can get up to 50,000 records. That's the limit they have it. So this is the query limit which we have. SOQL query limit. You guys getting what I'm trying to say? So why I brought this point is here this guy can count. There's no limit, so it's unlimited records because I'm just simply getting the count of them. So I don't mind. Just to give a count, I can go to the billion records, trillion records, whatever I can count. But it takes little time to process and get back to me saying the count of it. But the same thing, if you take off this count and if you add name and last name something, so then it is bringing me in each and individual records, so it can maximum get up to 50,000 records. But if just to do count, it's unlimited records. A simple query would matters of just do a count and then if you take off, it matters a lot. So even a billion records cannot be processed in the get query locators in the batch process. Of course, in one go it can get up to 50 million records only. More than that, if you want to do it, so you have to do a chaining of batch. Chaining of batch in sense, the first batch you have to run with 50 million records, and the leftover, the other thing is you're going to run in the next 10 batch. So that's how we can go to million or trillion. It's not so easy.
Okay. I have one question.
Yeah,
When you records, so even if that select, even if the account has millions of records, it will give that count no matter what, right?
this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just giving a
Okay.
count, it can give you whatever the records we have. So
Okay.
it's unlimited. We don't, get put a limit on this query.
Okay.
But the same thing, if you take off this function and you put a name there, so you are actually
Then,
acquiring a name field in that particular object. Then Salesforce says the restrictions of, okay, boss, you can
okay.
query only 50,000 records. It's not only the name field. You can have to
Okay.
find the fields also, but they can maximum get you in one go 50,000 records. If there's a batch to Apex you are writing, then you have an exception. So then you go with the database.get query locator and then you pass the same query. So they get you up to 50 million records. Same thing, same query. Database.query you're using, database.get query locator we use it. But they also accept the string as a query, string pattern as a query.
So do we have like star here? Select star from the table name. Star works in this.
Currently there's no, but they are not trying to get an upcoming release. That's what the Salesforce release document is.
And how can we see the whole table?
Go to the fields and then you have to get it.
Oh,
Fields and
okay.
relationship you have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there you can get it. Something we have, uh, something we have metadata API. Using that metadata API, you can query all the objects, fields related stuff. But they will be giving a field description what each individual field is doing, whether that particular field is readable, writable, or read-only field. So some descriptions we have. So we say S objects, describe S objects. Describe a subject means it is going to describe you. So what is that particular object has been having the functions. So using the describe object, you can query fields. Using describe S objects. So Apex dynamically get fields for the subject. So look at this. Mm. So you have a question, right? Let's say today I have a 500 fields. I don't know each and every fields. I cannot put a comma and then say that okay, this is what my next fields are. So then it will be crazy. So hmm, Let's say you are an account object. The good thing is if you find something here, you can copy the snippet and directly execute the execute anonymous. Let's come to developer console. Control E. So what my intention is, so like you said, no, Tushar, like if how do I get to know that how many fields I have? Tomorrow, if I have 500 fields here, so you can't keep them to comma comma. You cannot go on with the 500 fields here. That will be too crazy of a thing. So then, how do you get like how do you generally do like select star from a table name?
Hmm.
So this query is they're saying that okay on an account object, so he's trying to get the so what type of a subject is it's an account subject. Okay, what I'll tell you what firstly this is.
Oh, Jemsil needs to go.
Okay, okay, no problem. Um, so look at here. Schema is the class. Get get global describe is the one they have the methods and dot get if you do a particular account. This particular I think it is returning a map. Schema dot get global describe is a map type I think. So only you're trying to get of their key name. So they will get the values. If you remember
Okay.
our map class, map name dot get of a key value if you pass, they will give a
Yeah,
value. Correct,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You pass a
yeah,
key,
yeah.
you will give a value. So those
Okay.
values all would be about the account type. Entirely it is about account type. So they're just given the name as an account type here. Okay.
Okay.
Now using this map, what they're trying to do is so whatever the object account object they have got it. So dot get describe that fields and get map. So it is giving the more description about the fields. Now that you are assigning to MF fields here. So you would have a key and you had a what are the each object that is doing. So let's bring this and see what results we're getting it. So will this be helpful to you to query the whatever in account object all the fields that we have? Is it possible? Let's see. System.debug and I'm giving M fields. So since it's a map, so I'm gonna give dot keys, not dot keys, map name dot um, key set. So let's print this key separately and then value separately. You see in the on your the keys which we have there, account number, account source, active, annual revenue, those are the fields. And each and every field, so the values also they have added is deleted, mastercard name, type.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, sorry, map. What it does? Both are
M.
looking same. Both are looking same. Correct, right?
Yeah,
Key and a
but
value.
yeah.
Here it says type, computer type, parent ID, record type, type, billing state, city, billing state. It's all with
Hmm.
the top also. Okay, no matter.
Confusing.
So what we're gonna do is so let's go to the control E. So now map dot key set, right? So that we have to somehow do a query here. So list of count. Okay, list everything. It's okay is equal to select you have to frame this dynamic query, whatever the fields that we have. So we can't put the same field sets directly like this from account. Getting right? So we can't put this key set. So for these, to bring out this all these fields, you need to do some a for loop strategy and then add all the fields and then put it here. You getting? So maybe with this account, it may not be possible. You should use a dynamic query. So these guys will have used the dynamic query here. Look at this. So what are the results that it's been came here? So each new results they will try to process and add to a um, proper query and then get them. So this is how they try to do construct the so field AP name, field type, everything they're getting it here. So select ID name from object. Mm, okay, so let's make some simple logic here. People will have the different versions. We're gonna have a for loop here. So all you want to do is so actually this is an advanced class concept. So where we're trying to talk about how do you describe the entire results. Hmm, so M fields is oh,
You can take it if you want. Hi, Jamsil.
Hey, what happened? You're all by yourself?
No, Kant he got a text from his office saying that a quick call.
Oh, okay.
So he was telling him that I'm in a meeting.
I think he's still recording.
Yeah, did your baby wake up?
Yeah, they're kind of waking up. That's why I have to run sometimes in between.
you crazy! I didn't stop recording. Yes. So Jim said what I was saying is here. So this is not a question that we wanted to have a dynamic fields like how select star do.
Right.
So this is currently Salesforce under execution to bring them. But if something similar like that we want from an existing code, how do we achieve it? We have a schema class get describe is the function we have, and that returns the map. So only we're saying that get of that key name whatever you pass, we get the values, and these values are an account as subject type. Now again, we're getting more deeper of this account describe. We want to get the fields. So this is a query that we do it. So account type dot get describe and respective field and their respective map if you want. So we can do this. So this will be automatically fetch their key and a value. So I just try to print the key and a value. I got the top values are look at this. So but more or less similar they are account number, account source active. So this all looks to me like a fields. Now all these fields I have to do a query. According to me, what Tushara said is this is all we wanted to get a query. But with the no square basis it doesn't work out because it's a dynamic concept. So database dot let's put the query and this could be passing a string. I tell you why the string should be because with the square braces, how can we loop through all the fields and then add there? So you should not put a SOQL query fields inside the sorry you should not put a SOQL query inside a for loop. So somehow have to construct this dynamic query. So that's the reason I was using this for loop. So my for loop talks about so m fields which is having a collection of values. So I can take as a key set. So on the left hand, always on the right hand side is always have a bunch or collections of record you can have. And this is trying to process the each key if you take, so it's a string here. So key is a string here and a value is like a subject field. So I want to go with the string. So because you're processing the key, you literally on here. If you're processing the values, you process here. Why? Because the data type is important. What values are storing in here, you can take that data type only. String, let's say field names. So this is I'm just giving the reference names here. That's it. It can be ABC also. So colon m fields is the map name they have used. And then dot key set if I do, I'll get all the keys like this on the top. So now we are going under the a string. So string, I need to construct a query here. So the query would be this string query is equal to select, that's it, space, and so now the query whatever you have, I have to construct this way. Query is equals to whatever the value we have, the query plus because each and every query that we require a commas specified by it. So the first field, let's take this way, field names. Um, you can write as name. It's not names. It's not a product. It's a single record, single field. First, let's say account number is getting in. So query account field name. So we're gonna give. I'm gonna give plus operator. So I wanted to give here comma here. So this will go until the last records of this comma is there. Or you can give select ID comma here and then so basically the select ID have been already done here. So ID would be flowing here. So you're concatenating with the new fields which is coming in. So you need not to specify this, but mm, um, I think we have to do too many concatenations there. Please don't mind. So bear with me. So string field names. So this is what I want to have, a separate column for the string field names. Let me put a semicolon here. So we don't want this query. We can add later time. So the field names. So this let's put as simple field. Field names is equal to field plus. So after constructing the query, I'll tell you how it should be. So because if you are querying, look at here, select name restaurant. Somehow if the question mark, sorry, this semicolon comes, sorry, this comma comes after your field, and then you have a form here. So if you do this, it will throw in parsing error. So you should be very careful. The way you construct the query should be a field, then comma, and then the respective commas, and you should properly end the commas also before the from. Only then your query would work, right? So for that only I'm making this all commas and preparing it. So first select ID and doing it. The next instant thing that you would be doing is there's a comma here. Okay. So maybe you have ID there. It's okay, fine. Select. Select the moment you cannot give an ID. That's another crazy one. So select ID, I would write here, and then this automatically this comma would be concatenated here, and then all the fields that you can have. So this all the fields would indicate. So you need to just add the field names. Because always the field keep overriding there, so we don't need to concatenate this both the guys also. Field names is equals to field name plus this field value. That's how we wanted to concatenate. So second do this query is equal to query plus field names plus, and then finally you have object here. Since the object you can write directly here from count, and then this is the one we have. So it will ideally select ID, select ID, and then let's see how it comes. Field names, field names it is empty, we don't care, and then it just goes here. The field name is already having a value, so the current field will go, and this we keep adding the values here. So this is trying to modify here. Okay, fine. So I'm gonna do a system debug. Let's see what the query we get first. Don't think that if it's too much complex. So basically we're trying to construct a query here. That's it. Which is there? Where is an object? Oh my god, objects. Object name. So this is our query. Select ID, and there's a null here, and also we have ID here. So this query we can't pass it because select ID common null. So this won't work at all. Uh, though we know just keep going on here, comma, this all works fine, pretty fine. Um, so all we have to worry about here is the starting point where just queries ID null together. So ID is already there part of the query, I think. So we shouldn't have this. So let me control E. Let me take them here. So basically we're trying to do a dynamic apex here. We're trying to get the get tester describe object from account. So ID they're expected not to be having here. Why? Because ID is already part of the query. So let's assume select here. If this field is already a blank, then what to do? Hmm. To the beginning, this is blank. So let me put an ID here. See, if you do a query of two times, also it is a crazy, So already queried ID, and again why you're querying an ID. So that way it will be a problem. Field names. This is also good. So we have to write an if condition. If the field name not equal to null, then do something like this. Field names is equal to what of the field name, and this would match. So else, so for the first field it goes here. Thereafter it will keep going here. So I think we're good now. You guys getting what I did? So I did a select. So I know the ID is already ID and null is already ID is already there part of the query. And null comes when something that this field is blank. So that's the reason at the very beginning this will be blank. So ID and null, then comma that it starts with. So I want to do this way. So then if we're good with these field names and then query, so then we can pass this query here. So that will get me dynamic results. Firstly, I want to see the queries are working fine. Yeah, it worked out. Select ID is deleted master. Okay, all the fields they're getting it now. So there's no null here as we compared here in the previous statement. ID null, this we don't have now. So it started exactly with ID and then how generally you try to give a manual query. See so many things it queried. Look at this. This is big query we have, and I'm just at the last from account. So this means it is something like select star. You're trying to query all the fields which you have. You see this? It got me all the records. Is any questions here?
No, this is what I want. I mean, this is what I wanted actually to
Yeah.
see.
So best thing is to deal with that. Get me all the fields. I don't care whatever it is. Get me all the fields if you do. So this is more dynamic. So tomorrow if you delete, so we don't gonna worry about it. So tomorrow if you delete a field, so we're not gonna worry about what particular field you deleted. What is this crazy? If you hardcode this in a program, Apex program, so if you delete certain fields, like say custom fields, you delete, so it'll say that boss, I cannot delete this. This is reference in that particular program. You getting? So today you see a staff field called as in staff object you have restaurant. So this particular restaurant field is referenced in a programming of an Apex class everything, and you want to delete this field everything. So above when you try to delete, at last it says this particular field is referenced in that Apex program, so I cannot delete this now. That's how. If someone is referenced, it will not delete the record. So you getting it right? So what I'm trying to do here. So now this is something that I queried here. So we don't want it to do anything here. So all I wanted it to get a record query. Dynamically we have to pass them. So this is a dynamic apex what you call. So when an advanced class comes in, I can reference this how to do a dynamic query here. So we constructed absolutely queries here. Select we have, from account we have. In between the fields, who knows what we are doing here. So basically the fields is helping out to construct a query. You guys getting? So field names not equal to null. So you put this and then you construct. So the finally the query is ready. And this query along with this, if I pass here, so we're great to get the list of accounts. Now let me try to system.debug and say account list. Let's see what I has expected like wire through program we are printing in debug. So you construct a query, you pass that query here. Of course, this database query takes a string format and then this gets it. If there's a millions of record, please guys, you should be careful to deal with the batch class and then you should write here database.get query locator. Of course, same thing you can pass as a query here. They are okay with the query. String only they accept. So there's a query exception, unexpected token at the end of the file. So something. So let me give a space here. Why? Because so you have a query that you're writing it. So at the last, a field name. Let's say like this. You write select ID, comma name from account. How this is getting a parsing error? So maybe we're getting like that. I don't know. So I'm giving a space here so that select all the fields goes. Here we have select all the field goes. Then space from account. Let's see that works or not. Hey, it worked. Why? Because we know that we can't put this way. Select ID command. I know all the fields are perfect you are written, but the space issue here. So only then if you do this ID from account, you get this proper records. So if you have this from like this, you won't get it right. So it gets a parsing error. So that is what it was saying, I think. Now you're good to go. So account and then whatnot. All the fields that are inquired, whatever you given. So they are null if you see. So those many fields they have not bought the values. Then again second record starts with. Oh, actually first record is not over yet. So they keep going with one record so far. So like this 31 records we have. Account ID 31 records we have. And it would have been called all the 50, 60 fields what were an account. So if you go to object manager, if you go to an account. So each record is been queried with these many fields. I didn't go, no, go specifically mention number, account record, type active, fax industry. I didn't give all this. How did I get all these fields based on the describe subject? Basically, no. So this is how we make a dynamic SOQL statements or dynamic SQLs. So we can add them. So this could be written as uh, dynamic apex for SOQL. Using SOQL queries. Mm, okay. Dynamic apex itself is represent these subjects, and you're trying to do a query on that, and then you're getting the results is with the database query. With the database query method. Any questions, guys? Here.
No. No.
Okay. So Jamsul is there.
Hello?
So any questions, Jamsul?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Hey, Khan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay.
So all right. Just a minute, guys. Okay, I can text from chat. Yeah, you. I thought let the message saying she's leaving. Okay, no problem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write some SOQL functions, and we'll see what is the return type they are holding it. So what are the SOQL functions if you see? Let's come here. So the first function's already been seen through with All you guys have seen through the function like count. Now let's do with like something like sum. So if I do this select, I want to write sum here from account is the object. So for what I'm going to do a sum. So a very important thing. For what I'm going to do a sum. So which particular fields we have like to calculate on sum? Do we have any amount field or currency field so that I can say it is a sum of these values are this? Mm, yeah, optic grand total we have. Um, so I'm just getting this optic grand total here. So basically what I want to do is I want to print the results of this. Um, so what I do is, so we have min, max, average, sum, count, all these are the functions we have. So let me write sum of aggregation. So which you wanted to have is this field. For this particular field, I'm expecting for sum, but it's just not like that. We can give the sum and then we can move on. So we have to group by a respective either account name you're grouping by or the fields you're trying to grouping by. I can just put account name as a grouping by. But this, look at this. This is a simple query we have. I know whether if we put here outside, will it work? Ah, it's great work. You see, this is the accounts. Each an accounts you have grouping by name. I have say taken. So there are accounts with no opportunities. So there are accounts with opportunities. So that's the values you can see them here. Okay, if you're not understanding this, so what we're trying to do is we are trying to do a summation of this particular field from that particular account. And I'm saying group by name. Each an account, just bring out by the name. Now, roll up summary, what it does is it does the same. Roll up summary for the sum, it does the same. It tries to accumulate all the child record values and then get to their parent record. The same way, if you wanted to accumulate or no, your child records, so you have to use the sum function, and in this a particular field, so where you're trying to go do all the child records, the amount which you're trying to calculate. So that will be here. So to do that, what we have is we have aggregate functions to help out us this. So how do you write this? Because we can't write a normal query like this. The return results is our aggregate results. So far you've seen the written results are string, integer, account as a single record as a list of records. So now when you use this such a SQL functions, sorry, SOQL functions, so they get the aggregate results. Aggregate so results. You getting? So this is aggregate results we are using it. Of course, this is an expressions we have. Expression is something, sum of this total opportunity we are trying to do it. Now how do I do this print? So if you just simply print, let's see how it gets. Look at this guys, it's a list, could be written as this way also. This is the array pattern. You see this expression 0, 0, 0. Aggregate results, expression 0. This. Why we have expression 0 there and we have 1? So I'll tell you.
One other thing is, why do we need to have it as an array?
Because you get one or more records, right? It's
Okay.
just not about one single record you're dealing with. It's just like sum of all the records that you're dealing with. some of this opportunity, that field value you're trying to bring it up here. You didn't get?
No, not really. I not understand that part.
So there could be, if it's a child record, if I'm doing it an opportunity, I think I would have got to know. Uh, okay, so let's do this thing. Sum of, I'll not put an account, I'll put it on opportunity. Opportunity is an amount field, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this amount, let's use it. Sum of amount, here I'm going to give opportunity. Sum of amount. So all the opportunities, whatever you have, we're going to group them. So let's see. So this first opportunity has this much of amount. Second opportunity has 1,500, and the third has this. So like say each and every opportunities, each values we are trying to get the expressions here. So with the help of these expressions, so we can make a cumulative of the records. Like
Okay.
how a roll-up summary was doing. Okay, go get me all the child records and update to the parent. So
Mm-hmm.
first I need to get to know all the child records values, right? So this is how it is trying to get me the values by the group name. Let's say tomorrow I wanted to find the maximum of this amount. So the maximum that would be printed first. So let's see. Is the result? Max amount. Max amount is like which one is max amount here?
It should have only one result, right? If it is max amount you're giving the query.
Mm.
Can it have multiple?
So it comes in chronological order from the max to the minimum,
Okay, okay.
but the result seems something 30,000 we have, 2,50,000 we have. It's not a proper result here.
So even though we are doing the select on max amount, it will give from max to minimum, the chronological order.
So let me do by I just name you about it, right? So that's the reason name. When I do by name, I think they are going along with so grouping by name, right? So that is the problem here, I think. So they're not adhering the stage of whatever it is. So let me do stage name, which is closed one or closed loss. So let me try to get the stage name here. Opportunity has a stage name here. I'm just grouping by that only. Let's try to do this. So based on the name only, they're trying to do it. Jumps in. Now let me. I don't know whether this we can give amount. So so you can't give the same amount, or you cannot give by aggregator. Okay. So you should have different name for aggregation, I think. So what else is common that we can give for an aggregation? This is the very first record that we created, I think so. 5,000, 10,000. So it all depends on the group by value, whatever you're giving it. Based on that only, everything is getting changed. So I say maximum amount. So though it has a maximum amount based on the group by value, whatever you're displaying it, it shows the value. So if we say group by name, so then the name which started with the first record that is comes there. So so group by what we can give that the maximum value will come up. So let me put this expected revenue. Unexpected expected revenue is the one which we have field, right? I think based on numbers you can do a group by. So maybe by the name. So far whichever you use it's all a name here. Stage is a name. Name is actually a name. So where you can do aggregate by their respective names. So if you start with A, B, C, D, then the A, B, C, D based on the results we are showing it. If you group by the names. To say stage, okay, let's say the prospecting result comes as the first, need analysis the second. So they are grouping by like that. So whichever the group you give on which the group whichever I take it. So in that top values they show it. You getting? So let's say
Yeah.
an opportunity we have opportunity closed one. If they have the most values in that. So for the closed one, what is the maximum value they have? So let's try to print that into for loop. So if what I'm trying to say is that is the same. So we'll just get that stage name and so let's do a for loop and print this. So to print this, look at carefully. Aggregate results the right hand side and then colon. So what would be the left hand side? So what is type of an aggregate result it is? So this is an array type we have put here. Array or list anything is fine. So here we put what will be on the left hand side. How do a for each loop would work? Going one by one record, right? So one by one, what should be my left side?
The stage name.
Mhm. So the array records are of type aggregate results. So if I
Oh,
want to process them, then I should have the same data type, but it's not having like this array. See,
oh,
this
with
indicates
data
like a
type.
list. So this
Yeah.
account, you say list of account, you say list of account. So all the list if it is coming as an account, you see the left hand side will be a single account. So it is always a multi-tenant, a singleton like that. You think. So here aggregate results having a bulk records here. So their data type is list. So I want to process each and every record. If I see, I should use singleton of them. Get it?
Okay, just like that.
So this
Okay.
is something like always this way. So your array of records are flowing in always singleton. So instead of
Okay.
we are giving like this, we are saying that this is the values which we already created a variable and it has a value. So we're giving this here directly. Okay. So each record is
Yes.
now passing to this here, and here is holding the records whatever you acquired. Each record will be having processing here. Whole bunch we have here. So this for each loop will be passing one record each here. So after every for loop just completes, another one record opens. So one more record pushes this. So you process again one more time the for loop runs. So it goes on up till the end of the record. So now we have to print them and check whether with this what we expected are working fine. But look at these guys are having expression 0. How did you get that? So ER get off. What is that? EXPR 0. If I pass this expression 0, so it will give me the value because I'm passing the expression key, so it should give me the value. Correct, right? You pass the key, you should give the value. So I'm passing the key, you should give the value. So I say, so this is some or no max value. So you can have a stage also printed here. Max value this plus. For which stage we saying this is a max value? Let's try to print this. Let's just show this. So ID value we're getting it. Aggregate results like that. The same expression 0. After that we have stage. So what's wrong with this? Variable does not exist stage name. So let me first print this whether the stage name is getting here. Let's see. Sorry guys. So this we have to do. How you got the expression the same we have to get it because they all trying to print into the string format. To get the stage name we're getting, expression we're getting it. If you want to get the expression to associate value, you're doing this. So if I get the stage name, I should pass the key here, like the same way what we did here. So dot get. So for this expression, so this is stage. So we don't have repetitive stages, right? This is what I was expecting to see for you. So we don't have no repetitive stages here. All the perfect stages. Maybe the same record can be having 10 times. 10 opportunities would be there for prospecting. But out of that, which is the maximum they bought this? We closed one. Under the closed one, they have the maximum of 9,000. Sorry, 15,000 is the maximum they have it. So like that, each and every stages they have. So under the each stage they have this is the maximum record they hold it because we have grouped by their respective stage. So under the stage, this is the maximum value we have. Is getting?
Yeah.
So if I say group by name, so the name won't repeat. So we should be careful there. The name won't repeat. Going with the stage name is the much better thing because identifying the stage under that which stage, who is highest value they're holding it. Now this is the maximum results we've seen. Let's see any minimum value we have for this. Um, so we have min and average also we have. So we can keep executing them. Now the results are different. Look at this. You see this. So minimum value in the closed one we have 4 also. uh, this is not maximum value. Sorry for that. So I didn't change this debug log. So whatever the highest value you see, the max is this for maximum query. And whenever you see the less value 1750, these are all the minimum value in the respective stages. Okay. So a few things not changed at all. For what? Price. Okay. So everyone has a less amount also in the respective stages. See, prospecting has 1750 and therefore in the closed one. The same highest also we have like say 1 lakh, no 10 lakh, and this has 9 lakh 15,000 also. Now let's do the sum here. So it just gives me the overall count of each prospects. The cumulative value it will show you. See the prospecting. So the maximum at the very beginning it was just the 1 lakh, right? So now it is giving the additional value of what we added it. So it's 1 lakh 1,750. For the closed one, let's say 9 lakh 15,000. So here it should be too much, more than that. Why? Because it is giving the it is doing a sum of all the closed one records of the opportunities. So for this closed one, this is the maximum we have. Now, if this is not solving a problem if you think I want each an account and their respective all the opportunities values I wanted to match everything. So then we need to change that query, not to the stage name, so change with account name or account ID. Because each account ID I wanted to do a sum of all these amount whatever we're dealing with. So it's numerous name, or you can say account dot name. So now easily you'll get it. So for which account, who is highest? Are we gonna see the sum of them? So whatever the name that you give, make sure that you go here because it's a stage. What's missing here? Select account dot name, sum of account, and group by account dot name. So account name, then they can't use it. So let me use account ID at least. Based on the IDs, we can quickly reference them. Now, for this particular opportunity, so for this particular account, so they're saying the cumulative value of all the opportunities is 34 lakh 40,000. So let's open this record and see whether they are actually holding this money or not. So that we will get to know how do they write a programming for the roll-up summary. I'm just pasting this ID here so that it will open the right record. So I can see are the values in the roll-up summary, whichever they mentioned is right or not. Okay. So what we are considering here is, so why this amount is this much or less if you see, 21 lakhs only if you see. So in a roll-up summary, we have given a calculation saying that only for a closed one, I'm going to give it. Only for a closed one. So they're having the where class where the opportunity for all these records, whoever is having closed one, only for them I'm going to calculate. How many closed one we have? One guy is having prospective. So others are all closed one only. So no, these two guys are negotiation. One, three, four records we have different versions. So that's the reason there's a difference between this value and there. So if you don't have put any, see we have created a roll-up summary field here in the opportunity. Sorry, into the account object. So where we've given a condition there, where we given a condition there. Yeah, stage equals to closed one. If you don't have this filter criteria, then it would have been printed this exact value, 34 lakhs 40,000. Since only closed one I'm considering, so that's the reason it just gave me here in the original opportunity grand total 21 lakhs it has given. If I simply go remove these and check, so it should give me 34 lakhs. Programmatically, this is what you're trying to get it. So you're doing sum of an account and the opportunity. Yes, of course, we went on to the opportunity based on the account ID we're grouping by each account ID, how much of this amount are the summations we got to know. So if I remove this, none, and close one is none, and then save it. So that means I don't have any filter criteria here. So come back here. Did you see this? 34 lakhs 40,000 is the grand total. So even our program is doing the same, right? It's getting me 34 lakhs 40,000. So what this explanation is all about. Okay, if you want to do a roll-up summary for your lookup relationship, so this is the only way to do it. Aggregate results is very important things to deal with. So Tushar there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so no problem. So did you get this? So some minimum, maximum, average. So each account ID which you pass based on the highest value we will get it out. So earlier I was doing with the stage, and now then again I dealt with the account ID. Each an account ID has so their respective maximum value. So that is what now we can match with all the records here. I can bring out the each account record ID, so they will have their own records like this. So like say here, I'm bringing this.
Hmm.
So you should see the matching value of what we got in debug is 91 lakhs 50,000. Okay, 9 lakh 15,000. So here also you should see 9 lakh 15,000.
Yeah.
So this is doing a roll-up summary activity, but we writing a program here and then say look at the logic how it works.
Hmm.
So this is what we call as an aggregate function. Um, so SOQL functions we were talking about in the past. You see this minimum, maximum, sum, average. So this all are in the roll-up summary. But we are trying to do using, but we are using aggregate. Correct, right? So one of the simple example this aggregate results. So you can change some min, max, all you can apply here. So based on whatever that group by you doing it, so we show the results according to that. For this particular record, the overall all the opportunities records we give a sum to you. Go take it. So that is what it was doing here. For this particular account, so this is the opportunity value. If I just go to the related, I could see These many opportunities, all calculated all of this, and it got me a sum of value and set for this particular ID. So this is the value.
Hmm.
Same in our program also we got it. Okay, so I think we're good with the circles chapter. So one thing I want to do is sometimes we write this way also. It's a best practice code. So I'm not writing a SOQL query inside the for loop, but I'm writing on the first line itself. So where I say select name from account. So you should put a square braces here. You see this? So here, what are the records that you're querying? So we don't put it to a list and then list we're trying to get it here. So still this is also possible. And this is also a best practice code. This is.
Hmm.
So you don't put into a list and then you're directly getting it. Even this account is also a valid type only. So it printed me all the account. So sometimes you may not just put this all this to a list and then from there you're getting it here. If there's too much of things, you can directly pass this value here. Here also you can have filters. Let me limit of only two. So this is of course filter, right? Where condition, where filters, all you can add it here. But generally this particular query is used only for within this for loops. It is not behind that. If you acquire this outside and you're storing in a variable called list account, and that variable may be used in some other place also because already you've been queried. So in this condition, what happens? You try to query within a for loop. So only for this for loop, this may be helpful because these results are not stored anywhere. Just for a processing, you're doing query and instantly giving it here. We know this query is written as a list. Why? Because it is one or more records. You put limit to one or more records. Okay?
Yeah.
So this would give me two records only. So how about can we spend some 10 minutes on SOSL? So would it be available?
Now?
Yeah. So already it's too much of a thing. Then we can continue tomorrow.